Hi everyone, it's Angie. Welcome back to my channel, Literary Labors. It has been a couple of months, I think, since I posted last. And since then, I have unlisted all of my videos. So I don't know if you caught my last video that was like a life update, channel update. I did mention that I was going to be moving to Mexico. I am currently in Mexico. I also said that my channel was going to be a little bit more lifestyle rather than books. But honestly, I don't know that right now I have the emotional fortitude to film lifestyle vlog videos. I don't know that I have the personality for it. Just the thought of vlogging myself and filming myself more than I have to kind of just makes me feel really drained. I haven't even done anything, but I already feel like it's draining me of energy. Not filming this isn't, but just the idea of filming lifestyle and vlog videos. Also, I live in a really small town, but my bedroom window is like 6 inches from the road. And for some reason, this is a really heavily trafficked street. So you may hear a lot of vehicles going by. So I may have to pause a lot to let the vehicles go by. So anyway, I'm coming back to BookTube. Like I said, I hope to be active because I really miss BookTube. I miss the interactions, and I really feel like I just need some socialization because right now I'm not getting a lot of that where I am, and because of the situation that I'm in. And so yeah, I really miss it. So yeah, I want to come back and just, rekindle some of the relationships that I had with my fellow booktubers, and yeah, really just dive right in. So that's what I'm going to do for now. So I wanted to talk about my autumn reading plans. Normally, autumn is my favorite time of year. I love planning my autumn TBR, and I still do, but I'm living in Mexico. I'm not somewhere where we have like a stereotypical autumn. We don't even have pumpkins. I think kids do trick or treat, but I don't know how big it is. So I don't have that same, autumnal spark that I usually get this time of year. So my reading list, I think, kind of reflects that. And I think reflects the fact that my reading tastes have changed a bit, because except for maybe 4 titles that are October appropriate, nothing on here is really autumnal or spooky or creepy. And also the titles may change because there are a couple of readathons happening that I want to participate in. Emma hosts the Boo to You readathon. The last couple of years, I did not really participate the way I wanted to, but I'm really excited and looking forward to it this year. So, I mean, if she's going to host again, and hopefully she will. So that is going to affect probably the titles that I read in October, maybe. So anyways, let me just get into the books that I have chosen. And I only have 2 physical copies of the books on my list, but they're over there on my dresser, yeah, on my dresser. And I don't feel like getting up and grabbing them. So I'm just going to put an image somewhere of the titles that I mentioned. All right, so I have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I read this over 20 years ago, probably longer, when I was in high school. And honestly, I don't remember anything about it, but I figured it was time for a reread. And I've heard that the audiobook is magnificent, so I may listen to the audiobook. Maybe, just depends. Okay, I have been really in the mood to read some Woodhouse, so I'm going to read Very Good Jeeves. I lost access to my Goodreads account, my original Goodreads account that I've had since 2009, And so I know I've read some Jeeves books before, but I don't know which ones. And I don't think I read them in order. I think I might have skipped the book that is considered the first in the series. And I think maybe I skipped another one somewhere there. So I'm just going to pick up with Very Good Jeeves. Sorry, I'm trying to zoom into my phone and it's not zooming in. Okay, yeah, Very Good Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. Okay, I want to read Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. This is one that's been on my radar for several years and I've always put off reading it. It is Victorian lit, right? I think it is. So I'm going to save that one for Victober. Okay, the next book is also a reread, and that is Catherine Wentworth by D.E. Stevenson. I read this one probably 4 years ago, and I really loved it. I always meant to read the next book in the series, and I never did. I believe there are 3 books in the series, maybe more, but I never read book 2. So I'm going back to read Catherine Wentworth, book 1, so that I can eventually read book 2. Okay, the next book on my autumn TBR is Betsy and Joe by Maud Hart Lovelace. I started reading the Betsy Tacy books a couple of years ago when Kate Howe hosted a read-along. And then I stopped at some point. Well, I stopped after book 5 and I never continued. I'm pretty sure Betsy and Joe is book 6, maybe book 7. And I don't know why I stopped there. I really love what I know of Joe. And so I know I'm going to love Betsy and Joe. Next book that I'm going to read, or the next book that I have on my TBR, I don't know if I'll read it, but I'm definitely planning to, is Of Time and the River by Thomas Wolfe. I first read Thomas Wolfe when I was 21. And the book that I read was Look Homeward, Angel. And that book came into my life at the exact moment that I needed it. It was, in my opinion, the great American novel. I'm rereading it now, and unfortunately, it's not living up to the memories I had of it. It's still wonderful. It's still amazing. It's still a book that I'm enjoying. It's just not at the same level as it was when I was 21. But anyways, I'm planning to read what I think is considered the sequel of Time and the River, which I also read. I read several books by Thomas Wolfe back in my early 20s. And Of Time and the River was one of the books that I read. And again, I'm planning to reread it. Okay, the next book that I want to read is The Once and Future King by T.H. White. Now, if I'm understanding this correctly, there are 3 or 4 books in this. It's a series of 4 books. I think book 1 is The Sword and the Stone. Maybe, I could be wrong. So I may not read all of the books in the book or in the anthology, in the collection, or in the series, but I am hoping to read at least book 1. And I've heard amazing things of The Once and Future King. And then I also plan to read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I have only ever read We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I read that one. I read it a few times and I really enjoyed it. It's very unsettling, very good. Okay, then I have The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. This is a book that I have read a couple of times, and I don't remember much about it, but I remember enjoying it. I remember thinking it was interesting. And Ariane from Book Zealots just read it recently, and so when I saw that she mentioned it in one of her videos, I thought, I think I need to reread it too. Okay, the next book is a maybe. The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm pretty sure I started reading this one at the beginning of the year. I read The Hobbit, and then I'm pretty sure I jumped into this one, and I think I finished it, but I don't remember. And again, I don't have my Goodreads account anymore, so I can't check. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I was in the middle of The Two Towers, and I've tried rereading The Two Towers twice, and I have not been able to get through it. I've never actually read The Return of the King. So depending on how I feel, I may remove The Fellowship of the Ring from my list and maybe replace it with The Two Towers, or maybe I just won't read Tolkien at all. But Tolkien feels very appropriate for autumn, but then he also feels very appropriate for winter. Anyway, okay, the next book that I want to read, and I do have a physical copy of this, is Surprised by Joy by C.S. Lewis. I have only ever read the Narnia books, never any of his adult books. Okay, I also would like to read The Divine Comedy by Dante, and I also have a physical copy of this book, and I'm going to read, well, it's a book that says a new translation. I don't know how new the translation is, and I don't know who the translator is, but I'm hoping it's accessible. One of the reasons I have never read The Divine Comedy is because my fear is that it's going to go over my head, so I'm hoping this one is accessible and easy enough for my pea brain to understand. Okay, is that it? No, 3 more. I have The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. I have read that one every October for the past 3 or 4 years. It is such a wonderful, well-written story. It makes a really good read aloud. I really enjoy reading it aloud to myself. Okay, I'd also like to read Ray Bradbury's The October Country. I know I've read this before, and again, it's a book that I read either in my late teens or early 20s. I used to really love Ray Bradbury, but I tried rereading Dandelion Wine a couple of years ago, and it couldn't quite get into it. So I'm hoping to reread The October Country. And then I would also like to read Christie by Catherine Marshall, and I'm reading that one for Kate Howe's Kindred Spirits Book Club. So yeah, that is everything I'm planning to read for fall. Like I said, that could change depending on some readathons that come up and just my mood. But yeah, that's what I am hoping to read. I have not been reading a lot, and honestly, it's okay. When I first started on BookTube, or even before I started on BookTube, no, it was BookTube that kind of encouraged me to read as much as I could. I wanted to read as many books as possible. So I always set my Goodreads goal to at least 100, and I mostly achieved that goal every year. But this year, I just want to read slow and steady. I'm not interested in quantity. I'm not so much interested in quality either, because I just read what I like to read. But yeah, I think this year I set my Goodreads goal to, I think, 20 books. And right now, I think I have read 13 books. So I need 7 books to meet that goal. I might not actually read it because I'm averaging about a book a month. I know if I've read 13, then the math is wrong, but several of those books are books that I started last year and didn't finish until this year. So if I were to take those books away, I am averaging about a book a month. So I may not hit my goal. September, October, November, December. Yeah, I might not. Anyways, this is not about my reading goals. It's about my autumn TBR. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. I will talk to you later.